Hello and welcome, everyone. We are so excited to have you here and to have this conversation. To let all of you know, Mel and I plan on making this very interactive. So, Mel's here with me. He's one of our coach trainers now. And we're going to go through and talk about taking what you've already got, your initial coach training, and really moving yourself forward with that and building your coaching business. And of course, Mel's got lots of great stories and examples because of what he's done with his coaching work. So I'm super excited for you to hear about that. A couple of you already asked, hey, are you going to have access to this again? And yes, of course, we'll record it. We'll put the recording on YouTube and we'll send you a link to it so you'll have access to it again. So what is our purpose today? Well, our learning objectives, first off, is for you clarifying who you are as a coach, and then looking at and being able to list opportunities that are of interest to you, and of course, planning your next steps. So we've got lots of different elements that are included to address that. First off on our agenda is exploring that. Who are you as a coach? And so we've got some questions we're going to be asking. Now, when we ask those questions, we really want this interactive. We want you responding and engaging in the conversation. It's truly all about you. You can do that one of two ways. So one way that you can do it is by typing a question into the question panel. And of course, that's being monitored all the way through. And then the other way that you can do it is if you want to raise your hand, I will unmute you and you can come in live and ask that question. So let's participate. And by the way, of course, if you have additional questions, enter them. So the next thing that we're looking at is who is ICF and what's up with ICF? Because in terms of establishing yourself as a coach, this is increasingly significant. We are finding as we get out there and promote coaching services more and more often, people that hire coaches know to ask, hey, are you part of ICF? So we'll talk about the training options and the credentialing in terms of getting you that credibility. We're going to explore what you want out of your coaching. We'll talk about how you make it happen. One of the things Mel and I were planning earlier, and we were talking about, hey, let's role play some conversations. So Mel is super excited about what you say when somebody says, gee, how much experience do you have? And you're still pretty new in coaching. How do you handle that? And another one, Mel thinks, and please let us know if you want to hear it. He said, we could role play if you're talking to a prospective client, they're saying, I just can't afford coaching. How do you handle that? So what is your challenge in terms of having those conversations and getting the client? And we can role play conversations. And then, of course, we'll talk about resources. Question and answer time throughout and again at the end. Do enter your questions in the question panel. Ask them, raise your hand, come on live. Let's get there with that. So we're going to start out with the question of who are you as a coach? And the first question with that is, how do you explain your profession? And so what we're looking for here is to have volunteers, somebody who wants to come on live and say, this is how I tell people what I am or who I am as a coach, comments in the question panel. And then, of course, to get it started, Mel, I'm going to invite you in. Because so far I'm not seeing any hands or anything in the question panel. So let's get you started, Mel, and then we'll bring in the others. How do you answer that question, Mel?
If someone asks me generically about coaching, it's, I partner with my clients in a thought-provoking and creative process that it inspires them to maximize their personal and professional potential. Because I'm a strategy partner, I'm a sounding board. I provide perspective. I coach them. I'm their coach as an intention partner. And emphasis for me with most of my clients is I'm their accountability partner. So that's if I'm working with someone who is purely looking for some generic coaching. I change my approach if someone's that wants to know how I can help them with their health and wellness, and I can do that at another time. But that's generally how I explain my coaching process. What I will do for them.
Okay, love it. Love it. Something I've said recently to people is coaching is advanced development with it for advanced results. Advanced development for advanced results. Okay, everybody, there's a whole bunch of you here. What do you think? Somebody raise your hand if you want to come on live and share how you explain what you do. And then, of course, we want to see you typing ideas in the question panel, and I can read those out for everyone. And it's funny, Mel, we've got a bunch of people here and they're all being quiet right now. So, explaining coaching. Oh, good, I've got somebody who's brave. I'm going to bring you on, Christy. Hi,
Okay, so hi, I am pretty new. So my blanket sentence is I help them get clear about what they really want and align their actions to get to where they want to go.
Oh, love it. That's a great way of saying
That's awesome.
it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'll for now put you on mute and hopefully, oh, you muted yourself. So perfect. Keith shared that he explains more of what coaching is not. It's not a counselor or psychologist, which is, of course, a huge element of what we do. We actually put that kind of thing in our agreements too. And I wonder, when we say that, do they know what we're really offering them? What is coaching all about? And here's another one. Everyone, when you took your professional coach class, we actually gave you this example. If you're networking, you have a conversation with somebody, you say, what do you do? What do you like about what you do? What don't you like about it? What's your big challenge? And then tie your coaching to their challenge. And confession, I have used that a lot. And it really has worked for me in terms of picking up clients. So love that one. All right, let's keep going. Next question. How do you respond to the question, what are your qualifications? Who's got a thought on that one? Again, I've got everybody quiet, Mel. Mel, how do you answer when people say, what are your qualifications?
In my case, I'm a certified professional coach and a certified master coach.
Okay. So saying that, and this is where, Mel, you and I talked about that conversation from the professional coach class where, okay, I'm brand new at this, I'm just getting out there. How do you say it when they ask you, how many clients have you had? How much coaching have you done? And the example we give in class is we say, I just completed my certified professional coach training. And the reason I completed it is because after, and it depends on what your background is. For me, I'll say something like after 25 years in business management, I found that I really believe in the philosophy of coaching. I really like the idea of applying those skills in the work that I do. So I formalized my education in that area. And now I'm a certified coach. So that was one example. What are you thinking, Mel?
I agree. Yes. What more can I say?
that was a simple one. Okay, so I'm not seeing any hands yet or any other comments. I'm going to go ahead and bring up the next one. What is your focus as a coach? And so I know that's a big one for people figuring that out. How are you defining that? And I think the big example here is if we go out there and we say, oh, I'll coach anyone on anything, which by the way is totally true for me, but I sound like I'm a jack of all trades and a master of none. If I go in and I say, I specialize in coaching around communication and also conflict, all of a sudden you go, oh, okay, you know what you're talking about, or you feel like I have more expertise just because I name it. The other thing that we talk about in defining your focus as a coach is that when you do that, it helps you know who your audience is. Because if we say I coach anyone on anything, you're attempting to market yourself to the entire world, and that's way too complex. When you define your focus, you go, okay, this is who I'm coaching, and it helps you really hone in on how to connect with people. Mel, what example do you want to give?
Um, I, I've my background is I've been a personal trainer for 40 years, and 30 of 40 years, and quite successful, I would say, here in Charleston, South Carolina. You probably noticed my southern accent. And
From England.
well, there you go. Or Eastern, a little further east. My I knew there was something more than telling people to pick up a dumbbell and put it over there. For a lot of the time, I felt more, and I hope this isn't offending anybody, but I felt more like a hairdresser than I did a personal trainer. And I wanted to make a change from how I approached it. And that's when, actually, I got an email from Kathy 10 years ago, when at the time it wasn't in my budget. 3 years ago, it was. And so I, just like you, I graduated as a certified professional coach. And that's when things started to shift for me as a trainer now slash coach. And my clients generally got results when I was just their personal trainer. Things increased substantially. I started using coaching as let me explain this. I was their personal trainer and I used coaching techniques. I was not their coach. I realized there was more, and I took the advanced certification through with Kathy. And now what's happened is those clients who came to me because they said they wanted to lose weight, and of course, Kathy and I will say you don't lose anything. You move towards something. You can't move towards weight loss. So they would tell me what weight they wanted to achieve. I would get them there, and they realized that, you know what? Can you do this for something else? Can you help me with my relationships, with my children? Absolutely. What about financially? Absolutely. Because they also, from my conversations in depth with them, they realize it's a process. The process works whether someone wants to go from 250 pounds to 200, or whether they want to increase their income over the next year. So I started out as a personal trainer, moved on to being a wellness coach, and have diverged from both. And my passion is still, health and wellness, but my client base has increased because people realize I can help them with almost anything that they're going through. So Kathy, does that make sense?
That's a great example. And I think it really speaks to, so you talk about your focus, and then you went on to what your client really wants out of it. Well, it starts out with they want to achieve a weight goal. And then when they realize how helpful your process is for doing that, okay, now I want to do this, that, or the other thing. And it expands out into other areas. So that's
well, and so I'm going to interject briefly there. It also expands out to their family and their friends,
yes,
and all those other people that go, what have you been doing? I feel like the hairdresser. Like, oh, you look great. Did you get your hair done? I say, no, I actually have a coach. So there's a parallel there, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. Humor.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Ultimately, for all of you here, the idea is, how do you become established as a coach? You really figure out what your client wants. So your own experience, your own qualifications, your focus based on your passion, and then dig deeper. What does your client really want? Because when you let people know that you address what they really want, they're more interested in what you offer as a coach. So this is a starting point in establishing yourself as a coach. A thought for everyone is, go deeper with these questions for yourself so that you're really exploring that. All right. How do you actually provide it? This goes back in many ways to what we said about how do you explain your profession. I found that so often when I was talking with people about coaching, they were struggling with, well, I don't really get it. What do you mean? I'm supposed to pay you to talk to me? How does that work? And so really describing to them, coaching is a specific process. It's an opportunity for you to really figure it out, go deeper and go beyond. It's a time when you're going to have your thinking challenged. You're going to expand your thinking. And through that, you're going to start figuring out what choices really make sense for you. And I'm here as your accountability partner. So many different ways for having this conversation with people. And of course, when you first start connecting with prospective clients, doing that effectively makes a difference. Um, and I am hoping that's generating some questions with some of you. So please get those into the question panel. In the meantime, we're going to continue forward. So we're going to talk about the International Coach Federation. It used to be in coaching that nobody got trained, and then that changed, and people started going, okay, we want some training with that. As the profession has grown and developed and matured, we continue moving forward. At this point in time, the gold standard really is membership in the International Coach Federation. In order to become a member of the International Coach Federation, they have very, very specific requirements. So let's explore what that means, because our profession is either going to successfully self-regulate, and if we do that, it'll be through the International Coach Federation, or government's going to step in and regulate us. And one or the other is going to happen. It's a matter of time. And this is, by the way, you could look at so many professions where it's been exactly the same process. It's true of all of the professions we have out there. So ICF, who are they? They're 20 years now as the leader in the coaching profession. They have over 17,000 coach members, and that's where we get our guidelines and our standards from. So for example, when you took the coach training, the code of ethics, the core competencies, that's all from the International Coach Federation. In terms of who you are as a coach, being part of the ICF is a credibility factor. I thought it was fascinating when I bought my insurance and they said, are you part of the ICF? And if I'm part of the ICF, my insurance was cheaper. And I also am more and more often getting clients saying, are you part of the ICF? So it promotes professionalism in the coaching world. It is a global standard with our code of ethics, our 11 core competencies, the standards around membership. You have to have the 60 hours of training, and you're accountable to the code of ethics. And then they also offer credentialing. Now, I know a lot of you had questions on this topic, so let me bring this up. Becoming a member of the ICF is like saying, okay, yes, I'm really a coach. I'm a professional. And that's really our minimum if we're out there promoting ourselves as coaches. Above and beyond membership, they have credentialing. Think of it this way. Becoming a member is like saying you have the degree. Earning a credential is like saying, okay, now I have a master's or a doctorate degree in this area. So sometimes people say, okay, the professional coach is 30 hours, I can't join yet. And that is true. And they ask, okay, so what's the value of the 30-hour training? Well, for a lot of you, it's, hey, is this the right profession for me? And you're checking it out. The 30-hour training is also something that people use because they have other careers where they use coaching skills. For those of us that are putting ourselves out there as professional coaches, we do want to move on and keep going and earn that ICF membership and then a credential. The ICF has 3 levels of credentialing. They have the ACC, the PCC, and the MCC. So we'll dig into those. The benefits of the ICF, they've researched it. When you are a member of the ICF, it raises the asking price that's acceptable to your clients. It opens doors because you can say, yes, I'm part of the ICF, and it's an opportunity in terms of contract proposals, both because, for example, Center for Coaching certification, we're out there seeking contracts, and we find we've got to have coaches that are members of ICF for a lot of those contracts. They won't accept non-ICF coaches. So it's really making a difference in that regard. It helps engage clients because membership and credentials are viewed as you're professional and you're experienced. So very, very significant. It's also a fabulous networking opportunity. When you become a member, you can join the local chapters, the conferences they offer, etc. It gives you access to a wealth of research that they have. So a lot of great stuff. And their website is coachfederation.org. On their website, they have information on program accreditation. I share that because you took the professional coach class. It's approved by the ICF, and they have a process for that. They have information on membership, and then, of course, information on individual credentialing. I want to open this up and find out what are your questions, everyone, at this point. Type them in, raise your hand. And Mel, jump on in and add what I'm missing here.
What I can add is I'm a certified personal trainer, and there are lots of ways that a person can become certified. And just like the coaching profession, clients of mine are now asking me, so who are you certified through? And there are 3 or 4 organizations that are accepted as being, they are the elite standard. I'm part of one of those. And then there are a lot of other ones that I don't know if it makes a difference in the big picture, but with a few people are saying, well, I'm much more inclined to have a trainer who was certified through one of these groups because I know the credentialing hours, I know the background. I've heard that they're the ones that are a little bit more, you're going to get a better education compared to these various other ones. So it's becoming the same in the certified personal training world, Kathy. People are starting to question what is your, where did you get your credentials from?
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got a couple of people with questions. So Jonathan typed on what sort of continuing education counts toward maintaining our professional coach certification, and does this webinar count? So Jonathan, yes, this webinar counts. We accept on maintaining your professional coach designation any of the training that we offer. We accept anything that the ICF offers. We accept anything that's specific to coaching your work as a coach. So if you take a class on communication skills, it said we're very open about that. Rita, I see your hand up, and you don't have either microphone or telephone selected, so I can't unmute you so that you can come on live. So either in your control panel, select telephone or microphone so that I can bring you on live, or you can type in your question there. All right, so let's keep talking about this. Options for membership in the ICF. If somebody actually holds a credential because they've earned it, and I think that's fascinating. I'm surprised you can earn a credential as a non-member. They require, alternatively, at least 60 hours of coach-specific training that meets their standards. So for example, while this webinar counts toward maintaining your professional coach certification, ICF is not going to accept it as coach-specific training. They don't even accept their conferences as coach-specific training. They accept them as continuing ed. So it's 60 hours of training. All right, Rita, I see you've got microphone. So I unmuted you and you've got yourself muted. If you just click on the microphone icon, you can come on live. Hi, Rita.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi.
What's your
I'm
question?
sorry. I lost you guys for a minute, and then the police was behind me, so I had to be careful. So my question is, I'm interested in financial coaching. Do you have any training on that? I know I had to ask Amy, so I didn't see anything, or do you know? I want to do life coaching, but I also want to focus on financial coaching because that is my background and that's what I love.
That's your passion. Okay, so the first thing that brings up with me is the awareness that financial planning is very different than financial coaching. Um,
Exactly.
and I'm guessing you picked up on that through the training that you already did. I'm going to say go toward the life coaching certification, both because you want to go in the life coaching area, and you're working with individuals on something like that, that's the one that's going to make sense anyway. When you put yourself out there, for example, Mel's teaching a life coaching class. It's called Certified Life Coach Specialist. It's an evening class that starts this summer. And that class, you can call yourself a certified life coach specialist. And then you go on to say, back to those questions we were asking earlier, with a focus on financial areas. And you tell people this is the focus of my coaching work. One of the things I sometimes say to people is, I have a client who's 13. I have a client who's an executive in a big company. I have clients everywhere in between, and the process I use is exactly the same.
Okay.
So the expertise that you do have in the financial areas, use that expertise to inform the coaching questions you ask. Does that make
Okay,
sense?
that's great. Yes, it does.
Awesome, awesome. You're welcome to just mute yourself, and that way, if you want to come on live again, you can. Awesome, perfect. All right, so we will continue forward. The next thing to know for membership in the ICF is that once you enroll, for example, if you've finished your professional coach class, the minute you enroll in a master coach or a coach specialist training, you can turn around and join the ICF, because they'll ask you, have you completed your 60 hours or are you enrolled for your 60 hours? And being enrolled qualifies you for membership. That means you can start saying right away that, yes, I'm part of the ICF. And that's really cool. With us, to get your 60 hours, it's the certified professional coach plus either the certified master coach or the certified coach specialist program. Training options. Let's keep going with this, because in addition to membership in the ICF calling for 60 hours, the ACC credential with the ICF calls for 60 hours. So what does that look like to all of you? So let's walk through this. I mentioned they have 3 different credential levels. This gives you the basics. The ACC level, 60 hours of training, 100 hours of experience as a coach. They want 75 of those 100 hours to be paid hours. They want you to have at least 8 different clients, and they only accept hours that started after you started your coach training. So your very first class in the coach training program, you can count the hours from that point forward. For the PCC, it's 125 hours of training. That's the reason we have all the different programs. So we have the professional coach, the master coach, the coach specialist. We also have a coaching practicum class that you can take, and you do all 4 of those and you get your hours for the PCC level credential. They require you to have 500 hours of coaching. And then at the MCC level, it's 200 hours of training plus 2,500 hours of coaching experience. Now, with each of the credentials, they also require you to have 10 hours of mentor coaching. They require you to submit a recording of yourself coaching, and then there's an exam that they'll have you take. And of course, the additional training is great prep on that. So what is the process with us? Let's finish this and get into the additional information in terms of really getting yourself out there. So first off, the certified professional coach. You've all done that. The certified master coach or the certified coach specialist is next. With the certified coach specialist, there are 5 different programs. You can be a business coach, career, executive, life, or wellness. Mel, whose voice you're hearing, is the one that teaches the Certified Life Coach Specialist and the Certified Wellness Coach Specialist programs. We've got that. The coaching practicum class is a 30-hour program, and we offer the mentor coaching. So Christy is asking, Christy, this is a great question. Do you have definitions of mentoring? And you said you see a lot of definitions of what it isn't, but not what it is. One way I explain mentoring is that you are working with somebody who has a lot of experience, a lot of wisdom, and they're passing that on. So whereas a coach does not give advice, a mentor does. They're in the role of mentor very specifically to pass on their knowledge and their experience. Now, mentor coaching is a combination of mentoring and coaching. The focus is on your coaching skills, your coaching competencies. When you have a mentor coach, they are doing mentoring in terms of giving you specific advice and pointers and thoughts. And they're also doing some coaching with you in terms of some of the questions they're asking. So Christy, hopefully that clarified that for you. Let me know if that's what you wanted to know on that one. Mel, I think I'm hearing that you wanted to jump in as well.
Yeah, it's funny. I was going to say, I didn't mention that I am also a mentor to almost all of the clients that I work with regards being a certified personal trainer. Most of them, when they come see me, I want to lose weight. And I ask them, what's their desirable weight? We move forward, and I coach them, I train them, and I actually have photos of before and after. I have a photo of me when I was obese, and I have another photo of me when I crossed the line, the finish line of the Ironman triathlon. And that's where I explain that I probably walked in their shoes. Big word for me, I can empathize with the struggles of being obese. And especially for me, I was in my 30s. I told you I'd been a personal trainer for 30 out of the last 40 years. Well, I took a 10-year sabbatical, and every day was my birthday. And so I know what it's like to lose sight of your goals and then to recapture them. So I'm able to mentor, coach, and train all together. And
yeah, and of course the key to that is the mentoring and the coaching are skill sets that really help when you're the trainer. When you're calling it coaching, the mentoring and the trainer side are separate. They stay out of the coaching if it's called coaching. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay. So very, very quickly, in terms of getting yourself out there as a coach and establishing yourself and getting that credibility, take advantage of all the resources you already have access to. So we have an online searchable directory of coaches that you can list yourself in because you graduated with us, and it's findacertifiedcoach.com. You can become a published author. We write a new book every year. The chapters are written by graduates of the program, and they write those chapters for a couple of reasons. Number one, to learn how to write for publication because of the process. We have everybody working in teams. And then number two, because of the credibility of being a published author. It gives you something that you can hand people, show, etc. You can guest blog, and when you write a blog for our website, our audience sees it, and we link back to you, either on LinkedIn or your website. You can do one of these webinars as a guest presenter. We promote our general webinars to an email list of about 15,000 people. So it's an opportunity to get in front of people. And as long as you're providing great content, they're going to come to you in terms of, okay, I want to talk more about what you offer. Take advantage of the continuing education. And another big one, all of you have an assessments dashboard. And hopefully you've gone in and checked it out. I'm surprised sometimes when people haven't. You can go in and put your name, your phone number, your email on it, your logo, so that when you do give an assessment, it has your information on. So we bought that for you, and you can personally brand it. And with your assessment dashboard, you can give assessments like the DISC. You can give an emotional intelligence assessment. You can give a 360, a workplace strengths assessment, a values assessment. These are fabulous tools, and increasingly we're finding right now assessments are super hot in companies, and they really want people that can do those assessments for them. Your price point with that dashboard we gave you, the disc is like $26, all the different assessments. So you get an awesome deal when you use that. So check that out. Take advantage of the resources you already have, just smart in terms of your excellence as a coach. All right, so what does this mean for you? The training is polishing your skills. It's giving you the competency knowledge for the CKA. It's fulfilling your requirements to be part of the ICF. Plus, frankly, you're building confidence for yourself. You're creating your own path for moving forward as a coach. Now, a few FAQs, and then I definitely want to dig into more of the interactive and the role play. So everybody, think about the questions you have. We want to hear them in a minute. So choice in program. One of the questions that came in ahead of time and that we have a lot of people asking us, do I go to the master coach class or do I go to the coach specialist class? Let's talk about how you decide. Sometimes for people, it's as simple as a scheduling choice. The master coach class that's coming up is in the morning during the week. The life coach specialist class that's coming up is evenings. Mel, is it Monday nights?
Yes.
Yeah, I think, okay, so it's on Monday nights. So sometimes it's a choice based on schedule. Now, if it's, hey, I can make either schedule work, how do you decide? The Master Coach class is a deeper dive in the competencies. It's really good in terms of enhancing those competencies, your application of them. It's good prep for the coach knowledge assessment if you're going to go after a credential. The coach specialist program is really good in terms of some of the nuances of really establishing those coaching engagements and working with the client. Lots of really great models and examples in the program. So it's which one makes more sense for you in terms of choosing. The flexibility of being able to take it online is really nice. Of course, and I know you've all looked at it, it's a good price point. You get a variety of expertise with the different specialist programs. We have all different trainers doing these, and it's really a commitment to excellence. Okay, so I think that covers some of the core questions that came in ahead of time. Everyone that's here, what else do you want to ask? So we are looking for questions, what else you want to know, and then once we take a few questions, we'll move into talking about what you want and how to get there, how to make that happen. So who's going to type one in? Raise your hand. Let's get those questions. And Mel, while we're giving them time to think about what they want to be asking, what thoughts do you want to share?
I was thinking about the difference between the master coach and the specialist coach, and I have both of that training, and I think that the core of the master is aligned with the specialist coaches, and I think they're both. And I have to agree with your observation. I think it's pretty much the time, or when that course is. Having done both, I can see my career has increased or blossomed, not because of both or because of one or the other, just because of the education and the experience that I got from either or, if that makes sense. They both really helped me out, but I would be where I am whether I had done master or life.
Okay, good insight. Rita, I'm guessing your hand is up from before. If it's not and you do have a question, feel free to unmute and come in. I am beyond that. I am not seeing currently any other questions. So what I will do, and okay, so Rita put her hand back down, so I was right on that. Let's keep going. All right, so you're a coach. You want to be established, you want to be credible. Let's explore what you want. I'm going to throw up a few things and tell me what else you feel is appropriate for this list. Oh, let's see, a question came in. So Jennifer said, I have my certified professional coach certification. What suggestions do you have for starting? I'm a yoga instructor and a functional nutrition guide. What suggestions do you have? Okay, I love it. Jennifer, that so speaks to what Mel's experience is. What he started doing is using his coaching skills with his personal training clients. He found how effective that was. And what happened is those personal training clients experienced the effectiveness of it as well and started asking about coaching in other areas. And so it got him going with coaching clients in that way. If we look at ICF research, they said the top two sources of clients for everybody are referrals, so going out to your network, and also they said when you do speaking or training. So if you go give a presentation, talk on a topic, something like that. So those are the top two sources. I think where I'm going with this next slide is going to add to that. And please, please, please keep asking questions here. And by the way, another one came in. It said, in addition to ICF membership and certification, how can I build credibility? I struggle to be seen as a credible professional coach because I'm relatively young, 33. You're fine. It depends on who you're targeting. It says, I'm publishing a book in the next couple months, which I hope will help. What else can I do? Okay, yes, the book will help. Jonathan, I really want to know more about who your client is, what type of coaching you're offering, and who your client is, because that makes a big difference in terms of how you're seen as credible. So you can type it in or you can come on live. I'm also going to put up a list here because I think this moves you in that direction. So one of the things it takes in terms of really being established as a coach is building your own confidence. It takes getting those opportunities and frankly, using the opportunities that are presented to you. It takes getting those initial clients, developing, building with experience, and that in turn creates your reputation, which gets you to that success. So what I have planned here is to talk through each of these points. Tell me, Jennifer and Jonathan, with your questions and whoever else wants to jump in, is that going to support you in terms of getting what you wanted out of this? And you can raise your hand or you can type it in. Does that feel like we're moving you in the right direction? And okay, so I'm getting a yes typed in. All right, perfect, perfect. So let's go. So Jonathan shared who his clients are. Here's what I can give you. The Harvard Business Review did research on this, and they said when somebody chooses a coach, they're looking for two things specifically. Number one, they want to know you have experience in a similar setting. So they want to know you get it. So if you're marketing yourself as an empathy leadership coach and you help business leaders, they want to know your experience in their world. What experience do you have as a business leader? Because that's that experience. And it's funny because in coaching, we all know we don't have to be subject matter experts to be really great at coaching. At the same time, when people hire a coach, they want to know that experience. So how can you give them the experience you have in their world? And then the other thing, the two criteria according to Harvard Business Review, is they want to know you have a methodology, a process. And so how do you explain to them specifically the way you coach and what your process is, what your methodology is? All right. So, and you also said yes to where we're going. So confidence. How do you build confidence? A couple of things. Of course, your training, all of you going through the coach training, that started to build your confidence for you. Being organized with your setup. So thinking about how you create your workspace, the different forms you use, your materials, your process, because when you're organized, you're going to feel more confident, and your preparation. Now, as a coach, one of the best tools you've got from your professional coach class is actually your affirmation story, because that's a huge tool both for building confidence and for coaching language. Mel, do you have a comment on that?
Yes, for me, the confidence builder was being a coach in the classes. It was friendly fire. Was,
Practicing.
for want of a better word, yeah. And there was nothing at stake, but it was the best opportunity to work on for me to work on my skills, to overcome those fears, those thoughts, those doubts. Once again, to work on my language, to work on my approach. That worked for me so much. Yeah, that's my input. That 30 hours with my colleagues, coaching each other, and being coached and coaching was incredible.
Awesome. 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 So a lot of tools in terms of confidence builders. Above and beyond that, by the way, on your coach login page, there are actually a couple of questionnaires that are intended as confidence builders. And what I'll share with you is, yeah, they're intended for you to use them with clients. You can also use them with yourself and go through. So the practice, the affirmation story, and those confidence building questionnaires. All right, opportunities. How do you make the opportunities happen? So Find a Certified Coach is our online searchable directory where you can put yourself. We also have Center for Coaching Solutions. Now this is where we have a business development team, and they are out actively pursuing contracts. We've got an initiative going now where we are looking for people that can do training and then also do coaching. A caveat to that is we are very much faced with companies who know to say, we want ICF coaches. If you have training experience and that's appealing to you, do talk to me. Let me know so we can connect you and see where there is that opportunity, where you can go in and do a training and then do coaching. ICF has a credentialed coach finder database where coaches who have a credential can list themselves. And of course, it's about the hard work. It's interesting. I talk to a lot of coaches who are struggling to get themselves established and credible, and they're hesitant to let their own network know what they're doing. And guess what? Your own network is one of your greatest resources. Even if they're not going to hire you personally, when you let them know what you're doing, they may know people that are looking for a coach, and then they can recommend you to that person, or get you in touch with each other so that you two can talk, etc. So those referrals are huge. Let your network know. People also tell me they have a really hard time selling themselves. It's so easy to sell someone else, and it's hard to sell yourself. You know what? Think about it differently. It isn't about selling yourself. It's about letting people know what you offer so that if they want it, they can take advantage of it. And if they don't want it, that's okay too. At the same time, it's if you don't let them know what you have available, what you offer, they don't even have the choice of hiring you as a coach. So doing the work to get yourself out there means things like your social media profiles. It means reaching out to your network. It means going to networking events and connecting with people. It means putting yourself out there. If you have any skill at all in public speaking or training, use that to get yourself coaching work. So let me give you an example. Let's say that you do career coaching, if that's your specialty. offer a workshop in your area to talk about resume writing or to talk about interviewing or something like that. Sell the workshop inexpensively. Gee, $10 for a 3-hour workshop on resume writing. And what you'll find is you'll have people sign up, and when they come and you talk about what you do, you help them with their resumes, they'll be interested in, okay, and what else can I gain here? And they'll ask you about your coaching. As a personal example, I actually got into coaching because I was a trainer first. I had workshops, classes I did all over the country, and I had people walking up to me and saying, will you coach me? Or, oh gosh, you should be a coach. I didn't even know what they were talking about at the time. And the research from ICF backs this up. Top 2 sources for getting clients are referrals and any kind of public speaking or training. So what are your opportunities? We do one with the webinars we offer where you can be a continuing education person. You can get out there and do a free webinar. That's a way you can do it. And that's really good practice in getting you started. You put it together and build on it and go do those workshops. It does take work to get those opportunities. Rita, I see your hand came back up. Come on in.
Okay, Kathy, this is where I will need some help. I do workshops all the time. So I'm doing one this week, next weekend, the weekend after. That's what I do. I teach workshops. So
Awesome.
how do I, and I'm normally teaching about, planning for retirement, understanding your benefits, women and money. So what do I need to do because some people come and they're not prepared for retirement, or they're not in that place that they can do business, but maybe they're ready for a coach. How do I do them both, but get business for coaching as well? Do I need to do something separate than what that is, and maybe just talk about, your budgeting? I don't know.
No, this is actually great. It's the concept is, have you ever heard the term selling from the front of the room?
Yes.
Okay, so that's what we're talking about. How do you sell from the front of the room without being salesy? So
Right.
there's a couple of ways you can do it. One is self-deprecating humor is very politically correct when you're speaking or training, and it's a good way to go. So you can say, when I was this age, I did this, or, here's a place where I messed up. And here's what I learned about it, and here's what I know to do now. So when you do that kind of example where you made a mistake and you share how you solved it, they know, okay, I'm human too, just like all the rest of you, and that helps them feel connected with you. So in terms of getting coaching work, it's very important that people feel like they connect with you. Another big thing is give examples. So whenever you're going to give them a tip or a solution, give an example that ties it in. So you may say, okay, so I have one coaching client that I work with, and here's what their challenge was. And then this challenge is what you're going to address in terms of the tip or the solution. And you can say, so in the coaching conversation, we explored this challenge and what was going on there. And through that process, here's what they figured out to do. And so a tip for all of you out of that is do this. And when you have a few examples like that of what comes out of the coaching, what they're getting is a useful tip, and they're also hearing, okay, coaching really helps somebody address it. See, I have this other challenge that you haven't addressed that's not on the agenda today, and coaching can help me address it. And so they can draw that line between those 2 points.
Okay.
Is that helping?
It did. Yes, it did.
Awesome. And of course, depending on the workshop, the other thing we sometimes say to people is, if you come to the workshop and you get absolutely everything you need, is there a reason for you to come back for more? So you want to give them lots of great tips, and you want them wanting more. So think about how you're setting it up that way. Okay, next, how do you make it happen in terms of with clients? So for those of you that are newly certified, just starting to get out there, one of the things that's really effective is to say to people, I just completed my certification program, and so I'm going to take on a limited number of clients at a super discounted rate. And in exchange, I'm asking them to go through a very specific coaching process and to provide a testimonial. So in that way, you want them paying something. At the same time, you can do it very inexpensively, and that gets you started with your clients. And when you do a great job with that client, they'll tell somebody else, and you'll get more clients. Another thing that's important to know, talking about coaching makes a difference. I'll give you one of my favorite examples. My husband and I went out to dinner one night, and we went to this restaurant that has what they call a community table. So people who don't have a reservation, they just throw them all together at this really big table. And we're at this community table talking with people we're sitting next to, and all of a sudden, I've got a coaching client. And in working with that coaching client, I got another one, another one, another one, and another one. It was awesome. And it was because I went and ate dinner. No, what it was really about is that I was okay talking about it. You've got to be comfortable talking about what you do, back to that confidence piece. And the more you talk about it, the more the opportunities are there. Networking is huge. Finding those networking events and going to them, and networking online. I have had clients hire me off of LinkedIn, people I never met. How did they hire me off of LinkedIn? I joined the group that my ideal client is part of, and when a question came up, I responded to it. Somebody liked my answer and reached out to me. We talked a little bit back and forth there, had a phone conversation, and from there I got hired. So getting involved in those conversations is a way for people to know you're there and you have it. And be comfortable asking for referrals. Ask existing clients, ask your network for those referrals. Again, top source. Content marketing is another great way of getting clients, because when you publish an article, when you do a class, those kinds of things, they know that you have expertise. That speaking or training that we're talking about, all important ways to get clients. So I realize I'm starting to get short on time, so I want to give you a couple of other quick points, and then I'm going to hang around as long as anyone's still here. How do you make it happen in terms of experience? So building toward an ICF credential, you've got to have experience coaching. Keep in mind that experience can be individual coaching, and just like we do in the master and the specialist class, it can be group coaching. Group coaching is another great way, by the way, to get individual clients. Think about it this way. Rita, if your area is working with people who do the financial areas, you do these workshops, think about offering a group coaching session. So one weekend's workshop, the next weekend is group coaching on that topic. And when people come, it's a coaching session, which is different. You're asking questions and they're experiencing the coaching process. And they can experience it at a rate that's very affordable for them. And they go, oh my gosh, this is really effective. This is working. This is making a difference. I get it. I want more. And you will find that people that will start with a group coaching will in turn hire you on individual coaching. And you get experience both ways, both doing the individual and the group coaching. Of course, your coaching niche is incredibly significant too. Identifying what that is and creating opportunities for experience there. That's what you want to be speaking on. For some of you, depending on your focus, think about going into companies and offering a brown bag lunch opportunity or a mastermind group opportunity. And how can you do that so that it speaks to your niche and then they know you're available as an individual coach? The other thing we talked about is your reputation. You build your reputation with your credentialing and training. You build it with the quality of work that you provide. So for yourself, how are you going to make it happen? You gain success by first defining it. What exactly do you want? Just like we do in our coaching sessions, Get specific and measurable on what it means. Set those goals for yourself. Develop your strategies, do your planning, and then do the work. Very quick resources for you. We've got the International Coach Federation, our sister company doing the business development with Center for Coaching Solutions, and then, of course, the Center for Coaching Certification. So coachfederation.org is where you can find more on the ICF, our website at Coach Cert, and then Center for Coaching Solutions, where you can list yourself for the business development team. We, of course, offer the coaching blog, both as a resource for information for you and as a place where you can guest blog. The books that we publish each year, both great content, great learning opportunity, and opportunity to get published. And then, of course, the free webinars each month. We are available to you if you want to call or email. We also do outsourcing. If you know of, sometimes as a coach, you know somebody at a company and it's a bigger thing than they're going to hire one coach for, come talk to us because we can collaborate with you on that opportunity. We've got lots of coaches. I am happy to be available to you to have further conversation. So we've covered the content. We did use our time. I'm going to hang around and answer whatever additional questions you want to ask. Mel, what additional thoughts do you want to throw in while they're thinking of other questions?
As usual, Kathy, you've covered it all. I think we're all experienced with, you've got it, you get it done, as they said. Yes, you've covered it.
Okay. All right, good. Glad you feel that way. And everyone else, Rita, I think you were going to jump in earlier with a question and then you were letting me finish. And whoever else has a question, please let me know. And I'm getting the thank yous in the question panel. So yes, thank you. Glad you're here. Glad to hear this was helpful. And yes, of course, I know timing, a lot of you do have to run. So thank you. What else can we answer? Go ahead, Rita.
Okay, so my question is, when I put this together in my head, would it be okay if I email you?
You're faded off in the background, so I'm barely hearing you.
I'm in a place that I can't change the noise. I said,
Can you get closer to the microphone?
how's this? Is this better?
Barely. Okay, so let me see if I can hear you. I'm in a strain. Go ahead.
No, I think I know. Hello?
Oh,
How's
perfect.
this?
Yeah, now I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, so my question is, if I put together my plan for my workshops, how I think it would be effective for both what they were intended for and to add life coaching, would it be okay if I email you just so I can get some feedback prior to?
Yeah, and I mean, I'm happy to take a look at it and see what I can give you in terms of that. So,
Okay,
sure.
great.
Yeah. No, good.
All right, that's all I want.
Okay.
I'm excited. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I do have a few questions that were submitted ahead of time that I can go to, and then of course I'm happy to take others. So somebody asked, what is a good size for group coaching? ICF defines it as 3 to 15 people. I find your sweet spot is between 5 and 12. You get more than that, it starts to be too big, and fewer than 5, you have less of the interactive and the brainstorming together and that kind of thing. How long are group coaching sessions? Anywhere from 60 to 90 minutes. It depends on you and what you want. I find that 90 minutes really works well, and I prefer to do them that long. Let's see. Question in the question panel was asking about exchanging coaching services with each other. So one thing that I know a lot of our students do is they stay connected with their classmates and they do trade with classmates. Another thing that I've seen people do that graduate from our program is they go to our LinkedIn group or our Facebook group and they say, hey, what other coaches want to trade services with me? So through that social media, ICF actually has a paid program where you submit your information, you pay a set fee, and they will give you a coach and then have somebody be your client. And they're totally different people. So they have a paid service for that where you can do that. The big thing we recommend is stay connected with classmates, colleagues, and then of course connect through our social media sites. So hopefully that's answering that question. Let's see, and I think we've covered everything else that was submitted. So great conversation, everybody. Thank you for your thanks. We are really, really glad that all of this was helpful to you. Thanks for your time and for being here with us. Do let us know what else we can do to be of service. And have a great weekend, everyone.